Four. Do pop pop pop. All right, we're rolling out here in the wasteland. This is Freedom Phil, live from the Survival Pod, and I think about as laid back as I am, what would be kind of like the over-the-top dream situation, which much comes back to the question someone once asked me: if you could have anything you want, what would you have? Actually, the answer for that was more simple, so simple they couldn't comprehend the answer. Freedom Phil, like, subscribe, let's get into it. And always turn up the video speed. And why do I say that? Because, dude, watch videos faster. That's why it's called turn up the video speed. If I upload it, you should be watching at 1.75. Let's get into it. I was thinking about this design the other day. Okay, so let's just say you had the dream RV. Like, sleep over the cab, room in the back that I could convert into an office/gaming sector type of thing in the back. And then what about for crafts rooms and just hangout spots? Cheap piece of land. And obviously the RV, like I've said before, if I could pull like a Ford Maverick behind that, and then maybe behind that pull my pontoon boat, yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. But I got to thinking about it, and I was like, it'd be nice to have some side structures. And of course, with these side structures, I'd have to buy probably the corkscrew, drill into the ground, hold downs, fasteners, just in case of the wind or whatever. But on the sides, like obviously the doors, I'd switch where the solar is on this vehicle if this vehicle was the vehicle. But I'd set things up to where the door would open up to the shade. And that way, with your canopy, the shade, and then from that canopy, I would have like a 10 by 20 structure, like one of those pop-up structures. And then on the other side, I could use the other side for solar heating or whatever. Or I could even go a step further. On the other side, I could set up the same thing. I could basically have okay, so on the one side of the RV, the shade side, that's where the door is, that's where the canopy is, and that would be where the 10 by 20 pop-up would be. And I'd be figuring out some way to take those pop-ups and collect rainwater from every fucking square foot, even the canopy on top of the RV. Because then it just makes you more, self-reliant wherever you're at. I'd figure out some way to attach something somehow, maybe an extra tarp, I don't know. But yeah, then we've got how much square footage between inside the RV, under the canopy, which I'd have probably a hammock stand underneath that. And then I'd have the 10 by 20 where I'd probably have the backwoods bidet, or I'd have an emergency composting toilet or something. I'd have to think about something. I'd probably get one of those electric bidets, and have a whole separate liquid toilet system just for doing that issue. Once you've gone bidet, you don't go back. Whether it's out in the woods or in society, you never go back to being one of those rough scraper fuckers. You never do that. But then have the shower pallet inside the 10 by 20 on one side. But then I'm like, what would you do with the whole other side? The sun side. Well, technically on the end of an RV, I could, as tall as an RV is, I could run one of those pieces of shade cloth or a tarp for water collection and basically build a quick release canopy on the other side. Well, what do you mean? Where you just have carabiners or something connecting the cover from this side to that. So you got a 10 by 20 on this side with the canopy, and then on the other side you have another 10 by 20 X amount of feet away. So you got this shade tarp. So you've got how much shade in two 10 by 20s? Canopies, pop-up shelters. And I could use the other one as kind of a shop, a lot of people would say, well, what type of dream is that? Well, it's my dream, my dream. I don't need all the extra shit that everybody else thinks they need. As long as I had a piece of land, and I've got 3 pieces of property I outright own. I've got the one up there in Washington, and then the Rocky Mountain State next to the river. I've got, some land up there. And then I got the house that I never do anything with it. It's pretty much empty. It's winterized. I'm not down with living in the frozen ass cold. Like you can keep that shit. I know some people are like, "Whoa, we love skiing." You know the problem I have with most people that say that? They love visiting the ski areas. They don't like living in it. Live in that shit, and you'll have a different perspective. Unless you're a snowmobiler, then you're just nuts. If you're an ice fisherman and a snowmobiler, and I get it then, because then it's like, yeah, buddy, it's gonna get cold, it's gonna be nice, but I'm not about that. Just cheap piece of land in the wasteland for the summer or for the winter, which is like having summer all over again. And then a cheap piece of land up in the north, and enough space to have an RV with the 10 by 20 on one side, as much solar as I could fit on top of that RV, and then a 10 by 20 on the other side, on the sun side, with another rain collecting tarp. So I'd be collecting water potentially from both 10 by 20. So we're talking 400 square feet there. And then the RV, if done right, I could probably do it there too. If I'd have to figure that out, maybe I'd have to angle the RV slightly in one direction to get the water all to go one way. And then the canopy, there'd be that much collection. And then there'd be how much collection from the tarp on the other side. I mean, for the most part, in a lot of places, I'd be pretty self-sufficient. And then if I had the Ford Maverick, and in the back of the Ford, it's kind of a debate, because I actually want to pack my motorcycle in front of the RV too. That's kind of the thought. Basically, I've thought about what would it be, an e-bike. And don't get me wrong, I like my motorcycle, but there's times I look at those e-bikes for functionality, like e-bike or e-trike. So in the back of the Ford Maverick, have like an e-trike. So if I don't feel like driving a vehicle, you could just grab your trike, go do things locally. Want to go down to the reservoir or the lake or whatever, just grab the Maverick with the, the pontoon boat behind that. I'm just saying, man. I look at the situation and I think to myself, my dreams are not some grandiose thing like a McMansion that's, God knows how many thousand square feet. It's not. I don't need all that shit. I mean, everything we're doing eventually is going to turn to garbage or dust or whatever. It's going to be eaten by the sun or the plants or something. The remnants, it'll be taken or torn up by somebody else that exists, Life will rummage through the bones of your existence, is basically what I'm getting at. So I don't want to waste a lot of my life and time building up something huge. I mean, I'd like to build, like I said before, if I was stupidly rich, build some underground housing just to show the superiorness of the technology. But I realize most of that is pearls before swine. We have all the technology right now to do all these incredible things, and people don't listen. Just like with retirement by 30, aka 7 to 10 years. People don't fucking listen. People want excuses. It's not my fault, it's not this. No, it's your fault. Generally, it's your fault. In some way, somehow, there's a lot of decisions people make that usually put them in the situations they're in. There's very few people that are victims of random chance. And when you try to give people a way out it's quicker, better, faster, stronger, to where they don't have to really struggle as much, they fight against that. And so I guess to some degree, my minimalist lifestyle, even down to where I'm in the middle of nowhere and I have no problems because there's no people. In my dream situation, it takes away a lot of the unnecessary nonsense. And the 10 by 20s with the fasteners to hold them in place just in case of the wind. On either side, I could literally set up, have the RV in the middle as the central compound, basically the power plant and all that, with all the solar and all the battery storage. And I've even thought it would be kind of cool to have a little wind turbine on the back of my RV, just mostly as a joke. And what would you do if you had too much power? I don't know, pump water uphill. I don't fucking know. Maybe even set up a pila. For those that don't know what a pila is, it's a water tank that you put up. They use them down in Cabo all the time because sometimes the water's not as regular or the electricity goes out. like, because, fucking reasons. So you have this big water tank up on top of the roof. And so you can count on gravity fed in that situation. I'd totally build that. I totally would. At max, what I'd want on that property is maybe just a well and a septic. But even then, I don't really need a septic. I can use a composting toilet or a incinerator toilet. Like, really, a well would be nice. But to some degree, if I can find a water source somewhere locality wise, I could totally just go there and show up and do it. I mean, the type of setup I'm talking about, this van could get into a lot of places that an RV can't. Like up in the Northwest, yeah, the trees just fucking eat the roads and shit. Eventually the alders take over. And I've said for years, they should make like a private, community public group where we can go out there and clean up the roads. But like the government never wants you to do that. They want the roads to slowly eat themselves. That way they have a job later. Like, we the people could take care of it, but they're like, no, you can't do that. No, that's wrong. Only because you want to make a fake ass job for it. So there's a lot of places you really can't get an RV into like you used to. But still, if you've got your own piece of land here and there, you just set up one major encampment for, say down here, anywhere from, I'd say October, late October through, I don't know, April might be too fucking hot. And then you start just moving. Like 5 months up north, 5 months down south. 2 months in between. And sometimes, you think about it, like up north of here, about 130 miles, it goes from being like, I think it's like 1,500 feet where I'm at, which is, yeah, pretty low for the mountains. And then you go up into the highlands, it's like 8,500 feet. And so you could have like one camp down here and one camp up there, and you just take like a month going there each way. Just take your time. And even then, up in the high hills, I wouldn't want to be up there 6 months of the year. I wouldn't even want to be there 5 months of the year. Like from late May, probably into September, and then spend a month on each side going back. That'd be the shit. But yeah, my dream situation isn't like some grandiose, condo on the beach. It's not, I think shotgun shack cabins are nice, but I just don't want to leave anything anywhere where you come back and some fucking meth heads have broken into your shit. So like, yeah, you got the RV in the center, and then 2 10x20s on the side with tarp or canopy on each side, water collection from all of it. And basically, yeah, you just have like a place you can park and garden one time of the year, and then the same thing somewhere else. You just pick up camp and you just move you and your shop and everything. And everything's fucking groovy, man. I don't have these huge, grandiose dreams like a lot of people. And I don't know. I mean, my dreams are just different. The thing about it is, too, is when people talk about quality of life and all that, I'm just like, well, if I'm happy, that's all that matters. This whole idea that you got to have this statistical nonsense. That's the trap. They trap you by making you feel like less than you really, like they make you feel like a lesser person because you're not wearing these clothes, driving this car, all that shit. But once you get to the point where you're like, no, none of that matters. And when they try to be like, no, but wait, you're like, no, I'm happy. That's all that matters. And, it's like if, you're not hurting anybody or hurting yourself, then you got to start questioning, why does everybody else want you to, be a fucking dancing monkey, conform and perform for everybody else? Like when you found that little sense of inner peace and you're good, I don't know, man. I think that's all that matters. And I think that's what happens is as old people recognize that the world doesn't give a shit about them anymore. Like you basically, you're not as, you get to that age where they start viewing you as a potential liability because of health reasons. Most old people figure this out and they start minimizing, they start going down to more reasonable. They start trying to save more and more of their, stored up retirement fund. That way it can last as long as possible and even work for them where they have more. But when you're younger, the whole message they're feeding you 24/7 is you're not enough unless you have what they tell you is enough. And I'm just here to say all that's bullshit. But I mean, if you want to play that game, you want to do, ride the merry-go-round, fucking be a fucking circus clown for a bunch of other people to be entertained, go for it. I'm just saying, man, 10 by 20 on each side, RV in the center, big, huge solar array, wind powered, little wind turbine just for shits and giggles. And I'd have a shop on one side, kind of a shop hangout spot on one side. Then I'd have on the other side, kind of a bathroom / kitchen / whatever on the other. Fuck, that's all I need. And how much does it really cost when you think about it? How much does it cost for one of those 10 by 20s? What, a couple $100? Then the corkscrew tie downs to make sure the wind never affects it. Just saying. Some people's dreams cost, $500,000 to $1 million or more. My dream cost, what? The RV is going to cost, what, 20, 30,000? The canopies? I mean, fuck a canopy next to this thing. $200. So I'm just saying. Read and feel, like, subscribe. Oh.